Paul and Silas were rejoicing over the church that they had planted in Macedonia, and they were bearing in their bodies the marks of their ministry. We don't know how long they stayed at the house of Lydia after they were released from prison, but we do know the journey they took when they left the Roman colony of Philippi. When they had passed through Amphipolis and Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, where there was a Jewish synagogue. Yes, Paul and Silas would have walked the 30 miles from Philippi down to Amphipolis, a city surrounded by water on 3 sides. I've often wondered what they talked about as they walked along that journey. They must have rejoiced at how God had worked miraculously to save that spirit-possessed girl, and how he had turned the tables and the very jailer who had put them in prison had become a believer in Jesus. Yes, they were rejoicing as they walked along. I've wondered, was it easy for them to walk after receiving such a severe beating? They didn't tarry here at Amphipolis. They must have left the next morning because there was not a Jewish synagogue here. They were headed down to the great port city of Thessalonica. And as they left the city, they walked under the watchful gaze of this magnificent lion statue. This statue had been carved perhaps to commemorate a military victory of Philip of Macedonia. They walked under its watchful gaze, heading down to the great port of Apollonia. It was here at this port that Alexander the Great's wife and son were murdered after his death. But they didn't tarry in this city either because there was not a Jewish synagogue. Instead, they pressed on down to the great port city of Thessalonica.